Debbie Hobart, and we are inside the historic homestead at Creek Bend Farm that once belonged to the Rousch family. The family can trace their heritage to John Jacob Wagner and Lucinda Wagner, who purchased the property in 1878. They moved into the house with their daughter Grace. Grace grew up here and she married Ernest Rousch. And in a flip on tradition, Ernest moved into this home with his wife and took over the family farm. Grace and Ernest then had 2 children, Catherine and Robert. They both were raised in the home. One of the greatest gifts, in my opinion, that the Rousch family gave us were diaries. We have written diaries from Ernest Rousch and his wife, Grace, that detail what life was like on the farm. In a way to try to get that information to the public, we created a program called Spilling the Tea. So on the 4th Wednesday of each month, we invite folks to come out. We sit in the dining room around the table, have some tea and some cookies, and we read about the daily life of Grace and Ernest and raising kids. Okay, so we'll start with March 25th from Grace. Ironed from 8 till 1:30. It was awful. As we sit around the dining room table, I ask the guests to pick a date from each month, and then I read usually the day before, the day they selected, and the day after, because stories kind of continue from one day into the next. It's just giving us a very personal, very intimate look at how they raised their kids, how they made changes to the house, a little bit of what was going on in the world, but the biggest focus was right here. It was their community in Lindsay, and what you do to raise your kids and your farm lifestyle. February 16th, today is our 23rd anniversary. I wanted to go someplace, but I washed instead and ironed in the afternoon and evening. Probably the biggest surprises that I have read are some drama that happens in the village of Lindsay, because it's a rural community, small town. You don't expect to read about any drama that's taking place in town. Everything from there was a gang of boys that was running around town. There was a theft, so there was a bit of a sting that was set up here in the house to try to catch the young man that was stealing from them. So there's good drama. Had Shirley's and Norman stroll here all day to paint the kitchen, an awful shade of gray. Was so sick of it, I couldn't eat my supper. What we've seen so far from participants is that hearing them gives them a better impression on who Grace and Ernest were, makes them feel connected to the last family to live here in the house, as well as gives them some history about Lindsay, about the county, and what was going on in the world in general in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s. May 8th, 1932, Mother's Day. Am I tired? One of my favorite things about doing the Spilling the Tea program is watching people have a connection to their own personal past, whether it's something that has been read from the diary and they remember that, oh yeah, my grandmother did that. And we have a lot of photographs of the people in the village of Lindsay that went to school here, that lived here. We've had 2 different people actually recognize relatives in the photos. One was an uncle, but he was a child going to elementary school, and another was a grandmother when she was a young woman and she was teaching, and the ladies here had never seen a photo of their grandmother before she was married and being a school teacher. So that was a really neat connection for me to see people making. We will start with June 19th because she's got quite a bit written. So we'll start with that. Ernest, Robert, and Catherine went to Sunday school and Children's Day. I was sick and stayed home. Fire siren blew and it was Louis Overmeyer's, a gas explosion. Uncle Will and Aunt Flora here all day. I could hardly keep up, and then when they went, Ernest and Catherine did the dishes and I laid down. June 20th, did work and Catherine did what she wanted to and I slept and rested the rest of the time. Was no good. Just put away dishes and straightened up. Hope and the girls here and brought a loaf of homemade bread. June 21st, washed in the morning, and Catherine and I went to Fremont in the afternoon and got some things and pictures and Catherine's glasses straightened. Went to Bowling Green in the evening to see Mr. and Mrs. Darwin Eaton at 421 South Main Street. Ernest has June 7th, a Tuesday, Farm Bureau meeting, 8 p.m. Another Tuesday, June 14th, elevator board meeting. On Friday, June 17th, committee meeting. So that's everything he kept track of for that week, were all of his meetings that he had. So there's been a few lessons for me to learn all these years working with the Rousch family, the house, their belongings. One of the best lessons that I've gotten is to tell my story, because not everybody's going to remember it. I have grandkids that are 8 and 12. They don't know what I was like before I was grandma. So trying to document your own personal history, whether you're writing on the bottom of a chair that you bought, or you're an artist or you make things, put your signature on there and write down the fact that you did it. Keeping a vacation log. I traveled to these places and this is what I saw and this is what I experienced. So that's one of the big lessons that I've gotten from going through all of their belongings.